यूनिफॉर्म सिविल कोड, इसके प्रति, इसको लागू करने के प्रति हमारी प्रतिबद्धता थी, है, इस काम को करेंगे।
यूनिफॉर्म सिविल कोड लागू करने से राज्य के सभी नागरिकों के लिए समान अधिकारों को बल मिलेगा।
आज इसीलिए देश में जरूरत है एक देश एक कानून, कॉमन सिविल कोड होनी चाहिए।
When BJP came into power in 2019, it came with three major agendas in mind. First, abrogation of Article 370. Second, to resolve the long-standing dispute of Ayodhya. And third, the Uniform Civil Code. While two out of its three main agendas have been realized, the implementation of a Uniform Civil Code or a UCC has remained a topic of debate for over a century. On the last day of campaigning for the assembly polls, Uttarakhand Chief Minister Pushkar Singh Dhami announced that once back in power, his government would enact a Uniform Civil Code for the state. So what exactly is a Uniform Civil Code? What is the debate around its implementation and why does it matter? We explain. Uniform Civil Code in simple terms means one nation, one legislation. A Uniform Civil Code here refers to a single law applicable to all citizens of India in their personal matters such as marriage, divorce, custody, adoption and inheritance. What UCC would do is that it would replace the system of different personal laws which currently govern interpersonal relationships and related matters among different religious communities. Now, it's important to understand that while the criminal laws in India are uniform and applicable equally to all, no matter what their religion beliefs are, the civil laws are influenced by faith and therefore there are personal laws put in place. What are these different personal laws in India and how can UCC replace all of them? Different religious communities in India are currently governed by a system of personal laws. These laws largely focus on marriage and divorce, custody and guardianship, adoption and maintenance, and succession and inheritance. For example, Hindu personal law is codified in 4 bills: the Hindu Marriage Act, Hindu Succession Act, Hindu Minority and Guardianship Act, and Hindu Adoptions and Maintenance Act. Muslim personal law is not codified per se and is based on their religious texts, though certain aspects of these are expressly recognized in India in acts such as the Shariat Application Act and Dissolution of Muslim Marriages Act. Christian marriages and divorces are governed by the Indian Christian Marriages Act and the Indian Divorce Act, while Zoroastrians are subject to the Parsi Marriage and Divorce Act. In fact, you'll be surprised to know that Goa at present is the only state in India with a uniform civil code. So, why does Uniform Civil Code matter and why has there been a need to implement the same? According to the Delhi High Court, the implementation of this law will address discrimination against vulnerable groups of society, and that a UCC will reduce the gender gap or bias and will promote national integration. This fact is further supported by Article 44 of the Indian Constitution. But what does Article 44 of the Indian Constitution say? Article 44 of the Constitution is one of the directive principles of state policy. It says that a state shall endeavour to secure for all citizens a uniform civil code throughout the territory of India. According to Article 37 of the Indian Constitution, directive principles are not enforceable by any court, but the principles are nevertheless fundamental in the governance of the country, and it shall be the duty of the state to apply these principles in making laws. This effectively means that the vision of a uniform civil code is enshrined in the Indian Constitution as a goal towards which the nation should strive. But it isn't a fundamental right or a constitutional guarantee. One can't approach the court to demand a UCC. But this also doesn't mean that the courts can't opine on the matter. In fact, there have been several instances when the need to implement a UCC was felt. The demand for a UCC came to light in the judgment pronounced in the Shah Bano case in 1985. Shah Bano moved Supreme Court seeking maintenance after her husband divorced her after 40 years of marriage by giving triple talaq and denied her regular maintenance. The SC bench, in a verdict in favor of Bano, supported the idea of a uniform civil code. The SC bench said a common civil code will help the cause of national integration by removing disparate loyalties to laws which have conflicting ideologies. In the 1995 Sarla Mudgal case, Justice Kuldeep Singh reiterated the need for Parliament to frame a uniform civil code which would help the cause of national integration by removing ideological contradictions. The same suggestion reflects in the verdicts of other landmark cases such as Jordan Dyndig versus S.S. Chopra and John Valamatam versus Union of India. So, what has been the debate around its implementation? Those in favor of UCC argue that it will end discrimination in religions. A UCC could lead to consistency and gender equality when it comes to personal laws and bring in some much needed reforms. Those against it say that it will rob the nation of its religious diversity and violate the fundamental right to practice religion enshrined in Article 25 of the Constitution. In fact, those against it say that an action to introduce the UCC is against the essence of democracy. Despite the growing buzz, the likelihood of a uniform civil code being drafted and passed has remained uncertain.